mind. I totally don't know how I did that.
Iris, what the hell? That ain't it. That is not the intro. It's a good one, but that's not it.
Oh no! Do you know what I did? You don't want to know what I did. So screw the intro. We're just not gonna.
You're just gonna go on the air.
We are on the air, dear heart.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. Hi.
Okay. You want me to do it? I found it. Do you want me to do it now?
Probably not. We can probably talk our way through this. You want me to say the intro? Welcome to Eyes of Indigo. The gig box on the very other end is Iris Porter. I'm Margot Ross Sears. And in the middle is the media maven Ericka, our special guest today. Welcome to all the newcomers and welcome back to all our regulars. We usually burn up a minute or two at the beginning so that people can sign on. Usually, between the first 5 minutes, let people type in and find us again. If you find us, yes, there we go. Facebook is coming on live. Akimra, there you go. Hi, yep, you see, you got credit on the bottom of the screen. Honey, welcome. Hey there. If you're on Facebook or if you're on YouTube, you can watch us from either source. Feel free to comment, and your comments will show up. We're glad. We love talking to our audience. Deborah is back again, and she says, "Welcome, Ericka! Yay! Love to see you." She's a regular. That's Iris's sister, by the way, Ericka. Deborah, yep, Deborah is too. Yeah. And Angie Kopke is in here too. Hi. Yeah, see, you're getting it. Newcomers, type in and say hello to us. We love you guys.
We have people coming from both Facebook and YouTube, so you might not see each other. Yes. So we point you out.
So we will say who you are and put your quote on. You can also find us on Spotify, iTunes, Iris, where else?
Any of the major podcast aggregators.
Hubs
and iriscarter.com. It's on my website. I am woefully behind, but that's all right.
And there's also a link on my website, indigoanswers.com.
Yay.
So you can find us as Eyes of Indigo on Facebook and on YouTube.
Kendra says she's new. Welcome. I hope you enjoy it and come back. Yeah. So
very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. So do make yourself known, because we like to know who's out there. And as we go along, whatever we're talking about, if you've got a question or comment, feel free. We want to include the audience.
Jump right in.
Yeah. So I met Ericka. She's from Chicago. Tonight she's in Ohio visiting family. But I met her because of the 48-hour film project, which I talked about a little bit last week. Yeah. She's a new city producer, and I'm sort of on the welcome committee and help the new ones get used to the system and what they're doing and make sure that things are running smoothly as possible for them. And she took it and ran, and I'm getting all kinds of ideas from her. And So as we were talking, it was like, I have met a kindred spirit.
Yeah. I mean, we did talk for 3 hours. It was a long time. 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
It was a long time.
Yeah. And I mean, and it's hard for us not to have a short. It's hard for us to have a short conversation when we do talk. Because
we have to preface the conversation before the conversation to let us know how much time we have available to talk.
Exactly. and it's just amazing, because the more stuff I threw out, it was like, oh yeah, I agree with that, or yeah, I know about that. And it was like, oh, you've got to be on our show. So and her connections. And so what I want to do is share a video that's sort of a montage of her, kind of who she is a little bit.
Her occupations.
This is the tip of the iceberg, but I do want to share, and I think, let's see, it's supposed to have the sound with it. I already set that when I did it. So let me know if it doesn't. And let me go over here and
No sound.
no sound. Dag nabbit. I hate when it does that. All right. So what do I need to do? So
It says this book has me in awe. Ericka, are they talking about a book you wrote?
Mhm.
Good. What's the name of that book while we're
It's
waiting?
called Confessions of a Media Maven.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I
Okay.
tell
When was
the
that?
real raw truth about not just my personal experiences, but my professional experiences working in the industry. So it's full and robust, nothing but the raw truth. I share about how I took a lot of my trials and tragedies and turned them to testimonies.
Yeah.
And how I went from hating myself to self-love and
Yeah.
encouraging others to love themselves, and really just pursuing their dreams and their goals in life. But in order for them to do that, they really have to align themselves with their purpose. And
Step
purpose is a
one.
universal thing. And so understanding what that purpose is in your life is going to be key to
Yeah.
success. Because we're not born and raised just to live here and just be bodies.
Yeah, pay taxes and die. That ain't why we're here.
That's it.
Yeah.
I ain't quite doing paychecks and that's out. We out. So I really, it's, and I also help, and I provide in that, I do provide some tools and things that can help people really focus on themselves, like, developing daily affirmations, building, creating strategies for themselves, to focus on really putting themselves first, prioritizing themselves, really understanding and connecting with themselves internally. So it's real, raw, and true. It's nothing but real stories of my personal experiences. And you hear some gritty stuff from the fact that I've been abused, physically, sexually, emotionally, all the way to my successes of, meeting the most amazing and working with the most amazing people in my life and my career. And so, I surely could have not have done it without, understanding the purpose in life. And so I want to be able to help other people and, encourage others in this space. It originally started in the media space, but obviously, it just like boiled over into this big thing. And I get brought into business expos with, 2,000 to 3,000 people at a time and speak. It's gone,
Wow. The energy. Wow.
Yeah. So all kinds of different types of events. So it's been a blessing to be able to share my story, to be able to inspire other people through this process. Because you look at me on the side, I know I'm fine. God is good. Like, that's self-love, okay? That's self-love, y'all. Because I used to just say that about myself. Okay, let me clear that up. But I was in pain on the inside. I was hurting.
Yeah.
I was destroying myself. I was abusing myself on the inside because somebody else, some others have, and other things have put pain on me. And I just want to help people
Get out of that trap.
Because I didn't have anybody to help me to steer me out of that trap. I know what it takes to get out of that trap. But I did have mentors and things. But it's something to have the mentors on the outside, but not be able to share who you are and what's really going on in the inside.
Yeah.
We all deal with torment. We all
yeah. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we do.
Nobody is, nobody is extra special, separated from that. We all deal with some level of torment. So yeah.
That's a lot of clarity. Thank you.
Yes.
You describe it extremely well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think I got it. Oh shoot! You know what I didn't do? I hate this every time. I know.
Did you forget to feed the gerbil?
Yeah, I did.
Let it run in its little wheel.
It's like, okay, Iris, what is going on here? Okay, So if I do this, and I need to click share the audio every time I do that. So that's why I didn't do that a second ago. So let's look at the video now. And there's just too many screens for me to. Okay, let's see if you hear it this time.
A little bit about why they call her Media Maven.
And now I'm not hearing the sound. So let me see. Oh, there we go. Okay. You hear it now?
Yes.
Hey y'all, I know I'm not giving you really good reception in here, but I am in my old high school gym, Holmes High School in Covington, Kentucky, and I'll be speaking to the graduates today, and so
I see some friends
I'm just so excited.
That's one of the challenges I see in the African American community amongst African American women, is that we don't support each other the way that we need to.
Yeah, I guess you didn't think the ghetto knew about classical music. Thank you. Boys on Wall Street sure as hell don't have our backs. We gotta stick together.
And my live moment was meeting my sister for the very first time.
When he passed away, I found that picture and the information was on the back.
All right, let's see our next look.
Well, the last one, and this is my favorite, but you can have an acronym like myself, Gigi, and have one called BD.
BD?
Yes, for Big Daddy.
No.
Yes?
Yeah.
Y'all knew you like that one.
Yeah. I like that one.
Yeah,
but my wife already called me that.
You just opened a new door.
If you stick to it, you'll get through it. You'll get through it. And not saying that things are perfect and that they're not gonna, once you go through something, then you're not gonna go through it again. You just know how to handle it differently the next time it comes around.
That blessed me right there. If you stick to it, you will get through it.
Yes.
I do what I do, not for the rewards, not for the recognition, but because God put me on this earth to make a positive impact on this world. And I here, as Media Maven, I'm going to continue to do this to the day I die. Y'all have a great rest of the night.
Woo, that was wonderful.
Very powerful.
You.
Thank
that was
you.
Wonderful.
And it's something because for a very long time, I was silent. I prefer to tell my stories in silence and behind the scenes. And so, anything that you've seen me, the TV, all that TV stuff, I don't ever book myself for any of that, except I did, reach out to the casting for TLC from To Find My Sister. But I book on those shows. And so the producer's like, Ericka, We had a storyline on Ericka. You would be great for this. So Ericka, can we have you? And I turned down because I'm like, okay, I have to remind them, like, y'all, I'm not talented, but yes, you are. They're like, yes, you are. And so it's like you can't run away from what's divine. I remember back in '99, and I'm my mentor, one of my old mentors, Maureen Getz Rouse from University of Cincinnati, and she wanted to to introduce me to the local news stations. She wanted me to, she's like, Ericka, you need to be in front of the camera. And I'm like, no, Mo, no, no. She's like, but you need to be, like, people need to know. No, let me do what I need to do behind the scenes. But see, here's the thing about the universe. Here's the thing about our lives, is that no matter what we think, is that and everything around us that actually chooses the direction that we're supposed to go. Now we have to accept it because it's created to have a very successful pathway. We're the ones that create, this mess and this discombobulation and stuff that goes on in this path, know? Yeah. And so, I just had to, I kept running. And at some point I couldn't run anymore. That's where all the stories started to come out. That's where the book, everything started to come out. I couldn't run anymore. And because of that, I've been able to really, truly be able to positively impact others in my life. And not just in my life, though, in the world is what I've experienced. And so I'm ever so grateful to be used to do so, Yeah.
To be a vessel for all of that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
So where can people get a hold of a copy of your book? And Iris, can you throw up the title on the screen for us?
Yep. So they can find Confessions of a Media Maven on Amazon. You can also, if you go to my website, Confessions of a Media Maven, you can find it at the website. That's the author copies, so I'll sign it for you and send it. But if you want, and you want it like, tomorrow, go to Confessions of a Media Maven on Amazon and Barnes and Nobles. You can find it there. It's been in print since 2018. It is selling. It's still selling. It's a blessing. I said that, to get reviews, and folks to hear from them on a regular basis that, Ericka, your book inspired me. Ericka, what you gave me, I needed. Ericka, they're sending me screenshots. Ericka, look at all the notes that I took in your book. Because I created it so that people could take, I'm like, get your pen, honey. This is your paper. Okay. It's time to take some notes. It's time to write those affirmations. It's time to get your life right. And we're going to do it right here in this book. And so to be able to experience how it's positively impacting others, it's so rewarding, I couldn't ask for anything else, because for me, it's not about the sales. I don't care about the sales. I care about what happens. Yeah, I care about what happens in other people's lives. I care about people, so, yeah.
In your experience, typically, what kind of people, or let me be more specific, what kind of traumas, what kind of dramas tend to come at you for help? What type of people? Adults, teenagers, children, men, women, gay, straight? I mean, not that I'm trying to push labels, but just to give our audience,
what there is,
what's your niche? Yeah, what's your niche?
Here's the thing. I thought I had a niche, Margot. I thought I
Yeah.
Media. It was media. That's where I started. I was speaking in these groups of folks, and speaking at these events, and be rooms filled full of media or aspiring media professionals, folks that wanted to be in the industry, needed that boost of, they're thinking they're coming for information and they're, and to be entertained, but then they find out that they needed to be uplifted. They found out that they had things within them that they were struggling with, that they kept sweeping under the rug, and just walking on moving on in their daily lives and just thinking, oh, I can just, act like that never happened. And so what I began to experience in these groups, after I would speak at these events and people would become, like literally, like the lines would be long.
Yeah.
And this is in no shape, form, or fashion me being weird or funny, but
don't apologize. Keep going.
Right. There's weird. There would be like other guests.
Yeah.
And I'm the guest. I'm one of the guest speakers too.
But they want
My
you.
line would be so long because what I was pouring into them, what I was receiving from them because of their energy, because it's so strong. Our energies are so strong. Let me just say that. Okay. So I can pour into them when I can experience them one-on-one. And so what people began to realize that Ericka, I was pouring my story out. I was telling them about me being physically and sexually and emotionally abused. I was telling them about, the alcoholism in the home and all these other things that was going on, and, me being raped and all these other things. And they're looking at me like, but you're so confident. You're so strong. You're so this, you're so that. I'm like, yeah, but I was also the person who tried to commit suicide almost 30 times in her life. I was that person.
You've been there. That's why you're strong.
Know.
That's why you're strong. Yeah.
So you there's things that you in order to get to the next level, you got to clean up the mess behind
your foundation. Yeah, you got to clean up the foundation before you can stand on it.
Like that, that's just like being on the toilet and just keep crapping in it. You know what I'm saying? You ain't flushing it.
Yeah. Flushing. That's a good word for it.
Flush it and put a little Clorox in that thing every once in a while.
Absolutely. I don't know if anyone's ever brought it to your attention, but do you realize that you are describing the path of a shaman?
Yes.
In shamanic medicine. Yes. Yeah.
People also ask me if I'm a preacher. They ask me all kinds of, if I'm like some kind of religious or spiritual leader, because I'll leave a business expo. I'll be at a speak at a business expo, and they'll come, are you, I'm like, no, I just.
They
in a way you are, but not in the way they can understand.
Yeah,
you are a spiritual teacher. Yeah. Yeah, you're still very much a spiritual teacher.
Yes.
To put it in a mainstream kind of wording, and you don't necessarily need a title to be that.
Mm-mm.
But your path is extremely shamanic, going from living deaths and recovering from that for the purpose of walking with one foot in each world.
Yeah.
And teaching other people how to do it. And that's the mark of a shaman, is to go to the bottom and come back. And when you come back, you realize you have a foot in each world. And that can look like mainstream and alternative. It can look like civilians in Hollywood. It can look like an age difference. It can look like, all kinds of two sides to a coin.
Yes.
But if you got a foot in both worlds and you're teaching other people how to be that maven, that negotiator, that gatekeeper.
Yes. Yes.
I call myself gatekeeper, instigator, all that good stuff.
Gatekeeper is a great word. You guys are the gatekeeper of your own soul. You're the gatekeeper of your life. You're like, you were born and you're divine and purposed right here in this space. And so you're the gatekeeper for all of what you've been gifted with. You are. And it's up to you on what you decide to do with it. I said, people, can sit and they'll watch it just move along, because it'll go on without you. Other people are going to take that energy. They'll take your energy, if you don't let them.
Yeah.
And
people have to learn about don't give your power away without your permission. Assisting someone on purpose is one thing. Energetic vampires taking your power or giving your power to them.
Well, a lot of that's just learning how to channel the energy that's available to everyone. If you know how to channel, then you're not giving away your own energy.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, you got to be mindful. And I said, call them parasites, bloodsuckers, energy grabbers. Those
soul suckers,
people, those things, soul suckers. Even material items carry energy.
They do.
That's why it's okay clean house and to dump things from your past, dump things that have that have had certain experiences attached to it. They carry energy. Clean house, honey.
Clean
Not
house.
just on the inside, but
Do
on the
not
outside.
hoard.
People and things. Get rid of it.
Avoid hoarding. Absolutely.
Yeah.
The best word I heard for the best, it's a little bit salty, but the best expression I heard for somebody who is an energy vampire, somebody called them an emotional tampon.
That's real good.
And that one, yeah. They are all up in your business, baby girl.
That's good. That's nice.
Get rid of the emotional tampon.
Love it. Yay, we have bells.
Silly shit.
Goodness. Yeah.
So in the groups that we talk to and have moved through, someone like you who is in the technological world, the entertainment industry, television, radio, music, and so on, typically they would refer to you as an urban shaman.
Okay.
As an urban shaman, because you didn't go live in a cave for 30 years and have an Indian name or go to the Himalayas, talk to the llamas for years and years and all that cool stuff. Nothing wrong with that path, but there are more and more light workers and energy workers and starseed and words like that. People like you, like us, that are waking up over these past decades, and especially right now.
Yes.
And we're all here to, in one capacity or another, help.
That's part. Yeah, exactly.
And you're using your beautiful gifts of presentation and writing and presence. And I can tell you're a fabulous listener because you perceive and put it right back out at the next level.
Yes.
You're not just regurgitating what we're saying, you're taking it to the next level.
Yes, yes.
And I can see where people would forget the purpose of the program and try to co-find you and stand in line.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, what was this about?
Totally. So what are some things that you and Iris talked about that you really connected on that you could share with us? Iris? Anything you want to say?
Iris invited me. So yeah.
What jumps to mind first, Iris?
Well, I guess one of the things that was really interesting was knowing that she's in the entertainment industry, which can be very dark. But she's managing to navigate that and has had experiences with that. And we talked about how the media thrives on giving people negative stories, negative.
Yes.
And how we digest that can affect us. So like somebody who's not in tune with recognizing that they're perceiving this negative story, you can just get totally absorbed in it.
Yeah.
And you're basically taking in that negative energy.
And only that energy.
Only that.
But if you watch it in a healthy way and recognize this is, I've got my space, that's the TV, and I'm not going to absorb. I want to hear this other person's story, but I don't have to absorb that energy.
Yeah. Remember when we were talking about horror movies? Remember that, Iris? And I said that I'm a huge horror movie fan.
Really?
Yes.
Like my very first
that makes sense.
horror movie. What'd you say, Margot?
It makes sense. Yeah, because you have a high tolerance for that energy. You've learned to transmute it into entertainment for you.
Yeah. Yeah. So like,
Mhm.
and it started at such a young age, and when I told my mom, maybe about 10 years ago, I told her, I said, it's your fault. It's your reason. You're the reason why I will go to the movie theater by myself and watch a horror movie without a problem and be relaxed.
Mhm.
If I'm stressed out, I'll watch a horror movie. If I need to just shut myself, I'll watch a horror movie and I'm fine. Like I relax.
Wow.
Where
For me, it's like a
Cool.
roller coaster ride. I
my
just
mom,
kind of.
yeah, I was like 6 months old when the Exorcist came out.
Okay.
And my stepfather and my mom, they couldn't get a babysitter, so they took me to the drive-in.
Okay.
I was in
Yeah.
the back of the Scooby
Car.
van. I call it Scooby van. It's a Scooby van because of the VW van. I just
Yeah.
it's like trippy. I saw one
Sure.
literally that looked like that one from. It was like so strange, like how our universe, how everything is aligned. Because I hadn't seen that van in forever, and I saw one yesterday, and it blew my mind because I had not seen one since I was a kid. And so they took me, and I remember seeing Reagan, and her head was spinning. I remember seeing her vomiting. I remember, the priest, all that. That's actually one of my favorite horror movies. So I remember that and not being fearful as a little kid. I remember the car seat. I remember the surroundings. I remember the sound coming into the van. I remember those things, And so for me, it started early on where, I would say that I was used to watching horror. All my kids, they love horror movies. But, the average person that watches horror movies, they think, oh, you're putting bad stuff into you're feeding your spirit, with all this negative stuff. And, you hear that in the church. I'm from the church. I was born and raised in the church, honey. I ain't got no shame. My gang, I know the Bible from top to bottom. I done read it 6 times. Okay? But I'm going to say this. People in the church, they'll be like, oh, you feed yourself with all this and that and everything. Here's the thing with the media. Media, entertainment, I'm sorry, let me get negativity, big stories are entertainment in the media, period. Big stories, entertainment. So when it's like the media is you're going to always have this challenge with the media and what it has to offer. In the churches, you hear a lot, they're saying, well, that, the devil lives in the airways, that all this information lives in it.
Sure.
And yeah, there's a lot of information and, but, how much level of access or control you're going to give to those entities, those things when it comes to you is up to you, period.
Right.
I mean, it's just like, I'm very conscious about the energy and the people that I hang around, very conscious of it, very conscious about, who I interact with. If I feel like the time to shut down is the time to shut down, I need to shut down. If I'm feeling a certain way, I won't even interact with other people because my energy is so strong. People pick up on it.
Right.
So I don't want somebody to get that negative energy. So but see the natural mind of anyone is not to consciously think, oh, it's just energy. They don't do that.
Not yet.
They're taking in all the information, not the energy. And when they're taking in all the information, that's when it kind of changes things with you internally, mentally, and in your heart, because you're not looking at the big picture. You're just looking at the things that are attached to it. You're not looking at the fact that, oh, this could be energy.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I'm seeing here too lately, I've noticed a lot more is that people are talking about Mercury retrograde. And so there's something it's like, because that's become more mainstream than ever since COVID. And
Yeah.
it's like, it's always, all this stuff has always been around.
It has, but Mercury retrograde was an easy way to blame people's problems on something else besides themselves and take ownership. You know where I'm going.
It's an excuse for
It's
the
an
drama.
excuse. Yeah.
It's an excuse for the drama.
It justifies the drama. Yeah.
It does. So it's like, just really knowing, what works for you, knowing, and being aware, and acknowledging, that this thing exists and how does it affect you is so important. So
my mom used to laugh when I was about 3 or 4 years old, and The Birds came out, Alfred Hitchcock's movie.
Oh yes.
And my dad said he wanted to go see it, so let's pile in the car and go see it. And Mom's going, we can't take ours because, and it's true. I remember a butterfly would come by, and I'd go, bird, bird, and I'd duck my head. Anything that flew, I was terrified.
Yeah.
And Mom said, you can't take her. Oh, she'll be fine.
No.
And I
Yeah.
So I remember sitting
your
there.
mama in that era.
So I sat there and I watched it.
Yeah.
And I came out of the movie totally not scared of that stuff anymore.
Right.
Because what it was I realized, oh, they have an intelligence. They're not just flying willy-nilly. We can communicate with them.
Yes.
You got it out. You got big ahas. Good for you.
Yeah. I was like, I can communicate with them.
Yeah.
See, now you and Ericka are on the same page. You took your own personal traumas and shifted them into something you can grow from.
That's it.
Yeah.
Instead of letting it crush.
Instead of using them as a crutch
or crushing you down,
right? Or crushing us down, we use them as stepping stones. So it pushes up and moving forward, Yeah, exactly. And that's not what the average person does. And so, that's why I do what I do. That's part of why I do what I do, and it's part of that platform. It's just to help people to understand is that, those things happen, those things have existed, but how do you apply that to your life is up to you. Whether you take it for the negative or read it with the positive. We know the media is like I said, back to the media. It feeds us. Also, I don't watch the news.
Energy.
I can't watch. I literally I'll go through these periods where I'll try to watch the news in Chicago. I live in Chicago, and I'll watch it for a little bit. But I can't watch the news because it's so emotionally draining.
Mm-hmm.
And even with me being consciously aware of it, it's the idea because it's planting seeds of things going on the street, the negative things that go on the streets, and just being, feeling like you have to be aware, and feeling like, that if you go outside, you just always feel like you're always on
fear
because they instill the fear. They use the news and the media they use, and they instill this fear, to and it's like, no. So I just can't watch the news. I'll, literally moderate or monitor how much time that I do, and I do it just for information because I don't want the emotional value that's attached to it.
You pick and choose which newscasts you want to listen to. Go on the internet.
Margo, let me tell you something. That is a great point because I will watch a WGN because they're funny, they have entertainment and all this kind of stuff. And then they mix it with the news versus like a NBC or CBS or ABC. I can't do it because it's just, everything is just so morbid. It's so morbid. Yes.
And it's a good example of that you do have choices even when you're not being trained to think you are or that you do. You always have choices.
It's your choice. It's a choice.
You literally, in every situation, you literally have 7 choices, even when you think you have only 1 or 2.
Yep. It's a choice.
Some people don't even recognize that they have choices.
That the choices even exist.
And that's where, I've been talking about conscious, but we're talking about, the things that are in the subconscious or, that they're not conscious about, is that they don't know, and so, that's why it's important that people like us, continue to communicate to others that you do, be conscious about everything, be intentional,
Well, and it was one thing, because I know there's people, I can remember being in a class on interpersonal communications and stuff, and learning, you always have a choice. And this girl says, well, if somebody's got a gun to your head and they're going to rob you, you have a choice.
Yeah. Just give them the stuff and let them do it.
But and it's not that, maybe you don't like both choices, get shot or give them your purse, but you have a choice.
You have a choice. Yeah.
And so when you recognize that in any situation, might not be the choices you like, but that you
they're
have
still there.
Choice,
yeah.
Then you start getting more choices
Yes.
in situations.
Yeah.
You know, if you're
You
telling
start
yourself
looking
I don't
for 'em.
have a choice, if you tell yourself I don't have a choice, guess what? You're
They
going to
get
feel
narrow.
like you don't have a choice. Yeah.
It
So
starts showing up. Yeah.
Yeah,
mhm.
that's true. That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So interesting. I had a cough. I don't know where that's coming from.
Throat chakra.
My voice. Yeah. Okay. All right.
You have a choice, Iris.
Yeah. Okay. Another thing is, I've been trying to get this out too, so maybe that's what I need to do is say. I have noticed a lot of people will talk about evil and bad things and that sort of thing. And at the same time, you see the fear in their words or hear it in their voice. And it's like, one thing that I'm trying to do is constantly remind people it's not good, bad, evil, angelic, whatever.
It's not black and white. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, yes. Are there
Shades
things,
of gray.
are there energies that will influence us negatively? Of course. But it's no different than the energies that affect us positively.
Yep.
And when you are fear based with it, it's going to feed off of that fear and be more influential.
Yep.
Whereas if you just recognize that it is what it is, and you don't have to pay attention to it, or you don't have to engage with it, then you actually have more control of a given situation,
Right.
rather than going, "Oh, it's evil! It's gonna get me!" No,
Yeah.
and I've worked, and I've worked with people who've had evil entities attached to them or whatever, and it's like, well, what's it doing for you?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it's giving me more confidence. Well, until you
Yeah.
let it go,
Yeah.
it's going to be there. It doesn't mean that it's trying to kill you, but I think people end up killing themselves because they're accident prone or whatever because of the fear.
Yeah.
And you don't see little girls spin their head and spit pea soup. It
I
just
don't know now. I don't know.
I'm not saying it never happens, but it's not the average suburban home.
Yeah.
But I see so many people go, there's something evil in my house. Well, get rid of it. What's the problem?
Just clean up. Yeah, I mean, it just, people do, they do need to be aware of, the energies around them. Fear. I like to say that fear exists. Fear does exist. But also too, fear. People can use fear as a way to catapult them in their lives and in their careers. Rather than using it to stunt them.
Fear is very, very powerful.
Yeah, it's
absolutely
very powerful, rather than to use it, to stunt them or to prevent them from, growing and doing the things they need to do. They can actually use it, apply it to their lives to catapult them, But, sometimes people just need direction when it comes to, really connecting with that and saying, okay, getting over that hump when it comes to fear. Because, people, will stunt their own successes and their growth and everything because of it.
Fear of success.
Very much so.
Yes.
And they don't even realize because it's a subconscious belief.
It's a subconscious belief. And so if you're conscious, and you're aware that, that success makes me nervous. Success, it makes me really so much nervous that I'm afraid that if I do this, I'm going to get it right. And I'm going to be in a different place and I'm going to be out of my comfort zone. Out of my comfort zone because comfort is what people are used to. When you're uncomfortable is when you grow. And so it's like they think about the idea of transitioning out of that comfort zone. It's like, oh my God, what am I going to do if this really happens? And it's part of your destiny, period. It's a part of who you are. You just, each step. And I always say, it's like many of us are born with a multitude of gifts and talents.
Oh, yeah.
And we have the ability to apply those to various aspects of not just our lives, but the lives of others. It's like sometimes folks can have so much that they don't know what to do with it, and it just keeps them in the corner, and and then they just wilt away, and they do not become the best version of themselves. And so, I feel like it's important that we all understand that we do have purpose in life, and that we have a divine connection with the universe.
Yeah.
And yeah, ish happens, and it's gonna happen because it's life.
Yeah.
Stuff happens. But how do you get to it, get through it, is going to really be based on, you.
Yes. And the choices you make. Yeah.
Because that goes back to the choices you make. That's you.
Yeah. That's where the choices come from. You.
That's
yeah.
you.
Very cool.
Comes around. Deborah says choosing the media you consume or not consume based on what's best for your spirit is a way to set boundaries for yourself.
Yes.
I've never thought of that way before, Ericka. Thanks for shedding light.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And I'll share this, Deborah. I had an experience on set. I was a producer. I can share this publicly. I don't share the network, nor do I share the production company, because, I'm still a professional.
Yes.
So, but I was working on a pitch show that was on a major network, and I was sexually assaulted on set by talent. The talent was not even hired by the production company nor our team, but the production company, while they provided me with a lawyer, and I had my own lawyer to deal with everything and navigate through the process, they did it for their own protection, not for mine. So, like when you're working in the media, you're going to deal with all kinds of weird energies and all kinds of stuff. I never thought in my lifetime that I would experience a drunk talent nonstop, like literally, and that's not attempting. He was fondling, grabbing my crotch, like everything. I was fighting him off.
Wow.
Fought him off.
Full on octopus. Yeah.
And it was a low impact crew. It was nighttime.
Opportunity.
He was left. The manager, the owner had left. He had the bar in hand. So he allowed whatever energies, he allowed the energies to take over him. The bar was in hand, and he went to town. Next thing you know, as I'm trying to get him quiet, I pulled on him back, taking him in the back so we can continue to shoot. He's grabbing on me. I'm fighting him off. I was the most disgusting thing that I had experienced at that point on set. I mean, I hear things, people say things to me all the time, but to actually put their physical hands. And so, like when I went directly to the production company about the issue, like literally that night I left the production, I walked off set and I cried, I sent an email, called the executive producers, and, it was crazy because you would think, and the guy because I reported it, the guy got arrested. They picked him up at the location the next day because he was at the job when it happened. But it was like, no, after they made sure that they had their lawyer to basically, they wanted to have their folks on too.
Protect their own interest, yeah.
Yeah, it was no follow-up or anything with me to ensure that I was okay. And it didn't stop the work later on. I didn't stop I got jobs through other companies and everything. It didn't stop my work. But, just it's this industry. I've been crewing people since 2000. I've had my company at a talent group since 2003. I just transitioned my company, excuse me, it's just because I was drinking some more coffee in my chest. My chest is doing, but I have over 1,000 freelancers registered with my company. So they work on all different types of sets. I deal with a lot of different types of people. And because of that, it's like, we deal with all kinds of like things, on set. There's secrets and stuff that they don't like to share behind the scenes, but there's a lot of like
addictions and phobias, I would think.
A lot of addictions. Phobias, yes.
Yeah. Irrational fear of something that other people do not fear. Yeah. And addictions are a way to manage that.
That's it. And it could be a volatile space. And so, one of the things, as I'm going through my own experiences in the field and on sets and things of that nature, I was like, for me, it was more important to tell the positive stories, and folks, and really find a way to positively impact people's lives and to, be the gatekeeper for those type of stories on this end. And so, that's when I started Chicks. And, we work in development and distribution, and we do casting and everything else. But I only work on feel good stuff. I only work on things that are going to change people's lives, that are positively impacting them. I will not attach. I am selective on the type of projects that we attach ourselves to. After that last incident, I realized, I was like, these folks don't have my best interest. I'm a damn good producer. These folks in LA and in New York, they know, you may not see my name on Deadline or anything, but you know who I am, and y'all call me.
You got those people up there on that fucking board, pardon my language.
You called me to do the work.
We cuss on this show.
Yeah, no, good look. Okay, that's good. I can be free. Okay, free.
We should have told you that. Sorry. We swear.
Live,
honey. Yeah.
Because I would have been,
They don't need to be getting away with that damn shit. Yeah.
We actually had a show called Sacred Swearing one time.
We explain why we swear. Yeah.
But it's a messy space. I said, the above the line and I'm not afraid, and I don't feel like that my career or things being challenged, because I'm honest and I just give the whole truth. It just is what it is.
People want that. They're so used to being deceived.
They need to know the dark side of this business. They need to know that it exists. This is not light and fluff. This is not, what y'all see on TV. There's a lot of drama that goes on behind the scenes to make it happen. Okay.
That's what I want to ask you about real quick.
Yes.
Could you describe, and I'm trying to figure out what kind of adjective I want to use, but I could say, can you regale us with a short story of perhaps one of your more interesting or maybe more pivotal stories of something that led to something else, that led you to an aha, or was just a really weird ass situation that you think would be intriguing to regale us with?
So from like personal or professional?
Professional.
Stories.
Let's stick with professional, because I'm getting towards let our audience relate to a little bit to where you've been, but in your mind, a favorite story of yours, what do you like to tell? What story do you want to tell us?
I'm a storyteller.
Yeah.
I tell a lot of stories, but, and they're all truthful stories. So you're asking, is there a story that, and help me out here,
sure.
Marlo. Okay.
Sure.
So,
a meaningful story for you that led you to an aha.
Okay.
That's related to your professional. You don't have to name names unless you feel like you can. But well, a good example is you told us a dark story of when you got sexually attacked and what happened afterwards. Do you have a happy story that also led to a sequence of? I know you do. That led to a sequence of ahas that were equally amazing or interesting to you, intriguing?
I would, it's kind of because I've been through so much, and had a lot of experiences. I would have to, it might take much longer for us to think extensively, but I will say this is that like when back in 97 is when I was working I started working for the industry in 97 as a receptionist. I knew in my heart of hearts that I was going to be a producer. I knew that. I knew that I was going to work in TV. I knew that I had to take a job, whatever that job was, just to get my foot in the door.
And, work your way up. Right.
Yeah, and work my way up. But when I was 15, I found I was pregnant with my oldest daughter, who's now 32. And she has 5 daughters, 3 that she birthed, and then 2 daughters that were married into the family. I have 4 other kids, and 18 to 32 years old. I was living in the projects. It was a volatile situation. It was tragic. A lot of things went on in that home. In a single parent household.
Yeah.
And so I had gotten pregnant at an early age, at a young age. And I was at home. They had actually put me on break from school because I was having Braxton Hicks
contractions. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, so I'm 15 and I'm pregnant. I don't know what I'm going to do. I know that I want to work. I was a little hustler, so I was doing things anyway. And I would work, and I was doing things that I needed to do to take care of my daughter and myself and my family. But I just didn't know for sure if my life was going to pan out the way that I saw it in my dreams.
Right.
I didn't know. And all I know is that one day I was sitting and watching Oprah. She came on at 4:00.
Yeah, I remember those days. Yeah.
She came on at 4:00, and she was sharing how, and at this time, The Secret. Remember The Secret?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, and I, that was like the new thing around that time, And I just recall, I'm thinking like, this sounds like the Bible, like, well, the things I've learned in church.
Right.
That you basically put out there what you desire,
Yeah, manifest.
And watch it manifest, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she talked about though how she spent her life, her lifetime creating goals, a goal list, and putting things out there, and then things coming back to her. And at that time, you live in the projects, there's nothing, you don't have anything, nothing, And so this one afternoon that I'm watching Oprah, she's talking about this goal list, and I'm like, a goal list, and I'm pregnant. I need to make a goal list.
It got you started. Yeah.
So I had a goal list, 12 items, 6 top, 6 bottom, personal and professional goals. Part of the personal goals was to learn to love myself because I hated myself. I was, on top of the abuse and everything, it just forced me into a place where I did not love myself, And so, but the professional goals included having my own company. I didn't know what that was. I wanted to meet Oprah.
Sure.
I didn't know how that was going to happen.
And it did.
But
it did.
And working TV. And I was, and at that time, I didn't have access to any of this, Margot. None of it.
Except for the powerhouse that you are.
Mm-hmm. Except for
the powerhouse that you are.
And so that list, I actually still have that piece of paper. Was on the little 5, and it's in my storage. It's that little piece of paper. I've carried it with me because
frame it
to this day.
Yeah.
to this day, I always write my goals down. And I literally manifest. I actually invite things into my life. I speak those things. I've seen those things. So I write those things down. I invite them to happen, and they happen. So that's why it's kind of hard for me to say, okay, one particular, like if you say, okay, well, what happened in 1985? I can do that. But the one thing I can say is that moment in time when I was 15 years old was life changing.
Yeah.
Because I that goal list, it's been continuous. And the things that I don't accomplish, they've been transferred over. But I promise you, those things are manifested. Imagine to be 15 years old and said you want to be on Oprah. When I told Oprah the first time, that what y'all saw, that was the second time that I was that I talked to. That was the second time I was around Oprah. The first time I told Oprah in front of her studio audience that I had this goal list when I was 15. Then I was pregnant. I told her this whole story about me being pregnant and all this. And she looked at me and she said, you know, it's so funny you say this because that's the one thing I've done is I've been neglectful on my goals. Now this is years later. She's like, I've been neglectful on my goals. And I need to really get back to that. I need to get back to writing in my journal. I need to get back to inviting those things into my life. She said, I have not done that. You know, I've gotten so busy. I've allowed a life to swallow me up. And she said, but thank you, because I'm going to get back to that. And I'm thinking, did Oprah Winfrey just tell me that?
Yeah. You just gave the advice. You just gave advice to the advice goddess, right?
I said, but you gave me that, and I'm giving it back to you. It's like, you know, you invite the amazing things that happen in your life. You invite the negative things that happen in your life. You can invite fear. You know, like some of my worst fears have transpired. You know, and because
for the same
I've
reasons.
allowed them,
right.
I've allowed them to lie and live within me, in my spirit, when I should not have allowed them to. You know, when I should not have allowed. But that it also comes with maturity, and in the spirit, and in wisdom, and
growing your self-worth. You don't deserve to be tortured and tormented like that.
Nope.
Right.
Nope. No. It's like, for me now, it's like, you know, what people see, the minute things that we see, you know, what people see as large things. I see some things are just, a lot of those things are minute for me. You know, it's like, okay, why are we getting upset over this? Well, we can be like, you know, laughing proactive, or, you know, instead of reactive.
Bingo. I think you got a little bit of a fan comment on the screen there that Iris found for you. Angela Nix.
Yeah, go ahead and read it, Marga.
Angela Nix, faith is the bridge over which dreams trod.
Yes.
You have faith and belief and manifested your dreams.
Yes, Angela.
Angela feels you.
Yes, Angela, and it continues. You know, it's a lifetime process. It's not something that we just, you know, we start up here and then we put it down, and you know, then we go to something else. You know, this is a lifetime process. You know, So thank you.
It weaves in with everything else.
Absolutely, there's no question about it. No question.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a wonderful visit. Thank you. Thank you for being with us, Ericka.
No doubt.
That was beautiful.
It's a pleasure. You know, I love Iris, and now look, you're my new friend now, Margot.
Thank you. Namaste. I love meeting my soul friends from all over the world.
Yeah.
And connecting with them is even better.
Absolutely. You know, connection. Because I mean, you know, for real, it's all about the connection. You know, we can talk all day long. But, you know, are we connected? You know, there's a connection. And, you know, when you've got a connection, then things, you know, will manifest, things will transpire. You know, it encourages growth.
Absolutely.
It does.
Absolutely.
But thank you so much for your willingness and your time, and
very much
allowing us to take you away from your family.
They don't mind. They've been going through it their whole lives. So
Some of our guests are saying thank you in the chat room too. They appreciate your energy.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
So
Thank
very
you.
wonderful.
Thank you,
Great
guys.
experience.
Yay.
It
All
was
right.
a pleasure. And you know, if you want me back, just holler at Iris. You know how to contact me.
Definitely. Well, I'm gonna throw the closing video correctly this time. But thank you again.
Thank you, guys.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, you guys.
Thank you for joining The Eyes of Indigo with Iris Carter and Margot Ross Sears. Music is Arcadia by Kevin MacLeod of Incomptech.com, licensed under Creative Commons. Visit our Facebook page for broadcast details, www.facebook.com/eyesofindigo. Show is copyrighted 2021 by Iris Carter and Margot Ross Sears, all rights reserved.